it's toward 2 minutes-ish. There's a story of Bill Klem, Hall of Fame umpire. I don't know what you have to do as an umpire to get into the Hall of Fame, but Bill Klem's in the Hall of Fame, elected in 1953. And he was asked once, what do you do when you make a mistake calling balls and strikes? And his response, maybe apocryphal, was that they ain't nothing till I call them, which seems to show there's a philosophy out there. There's no perfect ball or perfect strike. A ball is what the umpire calls a ball, and a strike's what the umpire calls a strike. And there's no arguing with that. To this day in baseball, there's no arguing balls and strikes. You can't do it because it's just chaos if everyone argues every little thing. I thought of that this week. In society, we have to defer to a court system. That's the way societies work. Otherwise, it is chaos, and we're not supposed to let society devolve into chaos. Jewishly, this is clear. It's one of the teachings that we have that relates to the beginning of humanity. There's a tradition that there are 7 mitzvot b'nei Noach, 7 mitzvot that of the children of Noah. The children of Noah is all of humanity because, according to the story, we're all descended from Noah, right? Everyone else died. And the sense is that in those mitzvot, one of them is you have to have courts of justice. Courts of justice are essential to any civilization. And they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be perfect because they're made up of human beings. And human beings aren't always going to be perfect. But the point is, you have to strive for justice and then have some deference to the courts. When our society hit a dangerous inflection point last week, and we're probably still at that point, it is in part because people didn't defer to those courts of justice, and irresponsible leaders, including the president, urged people to disrespect the courts. It's less a political question and more one of having a safe and secure society. Each side, right and left, Republican and Democrat, will survive to argue another day and to push their positions another day. You can't win every round. And the idea that we can all ignore the courts and have mob rule is something that's against the Jewish tradition. In the Jewish tradition, there's a negative aspect. The negative, ominous end of the book of Judges says, Ish hayashar be'einav ya'aseh, that every person did what was right in his own eyes. And that is the description of chaos. Chaos, if everyone just does what they feel like. We all need every so often to defer to just authorities. Sometimes we'll disagree. That's okay. You can say, I disagree. But still, for societies to function, we have to understand that it's not always what's right in our eyes. Sometimes we defer to a system. God willing, we will all have the strength to help build up our civil society again. We won't always agree with what happens, but we can all be a part of a system that strives for greater justice for all citizens, and to understand that that is how we secure peace and flourishing and prosperity for ourselves and our progeny. That seems to be the vision of the founders of the United States, and it is very similar to the vision that Judaism has for us. We can all work together. God willing, we'll have the strength to do it. Shabbat Shalom.